Man may not be on the top of his form, but he can still make himself useful.
Welcome back to the By Design podcast. I am your host, Ronnie Knuckles. Today, we are on episode 20. This is a discussion episode. Again, just a reminder, these are lighthearted episodes. We don't really have a script. We just have some topics to get the conversation started, and then we go off on rabbit holes. The conversation today kicks off talking about the drying up of the Euphrates River, which is currently happening in the world. We have another series going on about Revelation. And so we're going to be getting to the Euphrates River drying up in Revelation 9. That's already happening. The Euphrates River is nearly completely dry. And there are some significant things that the Bible talks about when that happens. And so we get into some of that in this episode. We'll probably be talking about that more in future episodes. We then talk about ASMR videos on Instagram and how, it's kind of becoming a thing. And actually, I've seen many Instagram posts that are the most viral are ASMR videos. And so we kind of joke about that a little bit. And then we end up getting into extinction and animals that we could bring back. Again, these are lighthearted episodes. They are meant to really just give you guys an opportunity to laugh at us and give ourselves an opportunity to laugh at each other. And hopefully, maybe give you guys some information that you didn't know. If there's something you want to talk about or want us to talk about, shoot those over to questions@bydesignshow.com. Also, I think I ask this at the end of every episode, but I'm going to ask it at the beginning. If you like this show, please rate the show and share it with someone. We share clips on social media. You can go to By Design Podcast, our Facebook page. You'll see a picture of my face with a purple background. That's our page. Go there and share clips. It really helps us out. We're not running ads on the show. We're not running ads for the show. We're trying to grow this thing organically. And so anytime someone leaves a comment or rates the show or shares the show, it really, really helps us out. So we appreciate you all. Let's get into it. All right, so check this out. The Euphrates River is actually drying up. I don't know if you guys have seen that. So if you check it out online, it says the Euphrates River is facing a serious threat of drying up due to a combination of factors, including climate change, drought, and water mismanagement. It's in Iraq. The Iraqi Ministry of Water Resources, which, by the way, the Garden of Eden is assumed to have been in Iraq between the Tigris and Euphrates River. That's a whole other topic that we don't need to get down. Anyway, the Iraqi Ministry of Water Resources has warned that the river could be completely dry by 2040. Of course, they're blaming climate change, yada, yada. Okay, so when this started, I started hearing about this, and I remember as a kid hearing that one of the prophecies in the end, when the end times are coming, so one of the signs before the official end times is that the Euphrates River will be dry, and it will release a demon on the earth, right?
Are there two Euphrates rivers?
There's I don't know.
There's one in, by Wales, on the island of England.
Maybe it's said differently. This is the same Euphrates River referred to in the Bible.
It's spelled the same, too.
So check this out. In Revelation 16:12, the Bible describes the drying up of the Euphrates River as one of the plagues poured out onto the earth. This event is depicted as a preparatory step clearing the way for the kings from the east to march their armies toward Israel. The drying up is a symbolic representation of the power of God's judgment, and the preparation for the final battle of Armageddon is described in Revelation. In Revelation 6:12, it says, the sixth angel pours out his bowl on the Euphrates River and dries it up. The text states that this is done so that the way of the kings from the east might be prepared. Okay. Yeah, so it's just repeating what I'd already said. Super interesting to me, though.
That's crazy. And yeah, so that the biblical Euphrates River runs through Turkey, Syria, and Iraq. Longest river west of Asia. But there is also another Euphrates in the UK, but it's little. Spelled the exact same.
Little Euphrates.
And we're sure it's the big one that's drying up?
I doubt they're talking about... Yeah. It's the main one that's referred to in Mesopotamia.
In the Bible, it's not necessarily talking about the water being dried up.
It says, the sixth angel poured out his bowl on the great Euphrates River. It dried up to nothing. And the dry riverbed became a fine roadbed for the kings from the east.
Counterpoint, Tim.
Okay, so maybe also talking about that symbolizes.
Doesn't even mean that, dude.
Hey, we're spitballing here. Relax.
I wasn't spitballing.
He was spitting facts.
You might be.
Well, you're missing. It symbolizes God's removal of restraint on Satan's capacity to assemble a global conspiracy against the church.
Yeah, on the entire. So part of the fulfillment of the final prophecy is that the kings from the east. So there's like Gog, I think, is one of the nations that will come against Israel in Armageddon, and that's often believed to be either China or Russia. And the best way to cross, other than like through air, the best way to move land troops is through that region into Israel. And
Having to cross the river.
and the Euphrates River is super wide. It'd be like trying to move. They don't have bridges like we do either. Be trying to move massive troops across the river. Very hard to do if it isn't dried up. It would take a lot more time.
Yeah.
And so one of the steps is obviously that. And I also, Tim, you may be able to look into this, but there are, Revelation describes that there are demons that God cast under the Euphrates River. And once the river is dried up, then, more metaphorically, they will be released upon the earth. Their spirits will be released upon the earth. But
That's terrifying.
I don't know why this. I sent
So
you guys.
glad I never have to go to Turkey or Iraq.
They might find their way
Yeah,
over
they got a
here.
lot of stuff going on, man.
Yeah.
That's where it all kind of began. You know what I think is interesting? When I was in World Civ at U of L, that's all super secular, no creationism at all. And they were talking about the origins of man, right? So like in World Civ, they're also teaching evolution to like get to, history as we know it. And they say that the first human beings were from Mesopotamia, somewhere in the Kuwaiti, Iraqi region. And I'm like, oh, like the Bible says. And so I asked the professor that. I'm like, well, the Bible says that the Garden of Eden was between the Tigris and Euphrates River, which the between point is Kuwait, Mesopotamia. And they were like, yeah, well, but that's not what we're really referring to. And I'm like, yeah, but your science is just proving the Bible more. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you not make that connection in your brain?
They don't want to.
Exactly, because it messes your story up. But anyway, I always thought that was interesting. And I think that in the Bible too, it talks about, wasn't the where the garden was cursed?
Did it say
Curse
something
the
about
ground or something?
Yeah, the curse the ground. Nothing would grow there easily again, or something like
Yeah,
that.
and it's
So what's modern day Mesopotamia look like? Like, is it like
It's a
barren?
desert. It's Iraq. It's Iraq and Kuwait. Straight up desert.
Adds up.
Whoops.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
Adds up.
I'm no cinematographies, but
What was that, brother?
It's a sign of monologist.
yeah, Tim knows. Sometimes we just make words up for titles.
Like swath?
You know,
Yeah.
all words were made up.
Yeah.
It's true.
Oh,
No.
we're getting deep today.
Is that
They
deep?
weren't.
Yeah, they were.
All words were made up. Yeah.
Tim's on. He's wearing his antagonist.
How were they all made up?
I don't know what he's doing over there. I think he's reading the whole book of Revelation. He hasn't said one word.
He's locked in.
Yeah, he is.
You wanted me to look up something, didn't you?
Don't recall that.
You were spitballing something, and then you never just. Oh yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. My
Yeah, I
bad.
did.
My bad. All right, ASMR.
Do the beard thing.
Stop.
No, hate it.
Stop.
Yeah. Don't like it.
It's like a bristle pad.
Sorry to the listeners.
You're trying to clean a pan off with the bristle pad. It's kind of what it sounds like.
For tuning in to this podcast. I can't
Or
stand
when
ASMR.
this isn't a
no,
clicky
it drives
mic, but
me
when they do like
nuts.
this, like with their nails.
I saw
Okay,
one.
okay. Sorry, were you saying something?
I was saying, I've seen some
Tim, I'm gonna kill you.
ASMR where they're like crushing Coke cans or opening Coke cans.
That's
Or
too
they'll
much.
just tap it. And I'm like, why? Why?
There's two kinds
The
of
tapping is good. The
Wow.
popping it open. No.
Weird.
Or
You can do that
they'll
on
crush
your
it.
own.
They'll just crush one.
That's
Get
too
another one.
much. That's too much.
Crush it with a
noise.
hydraulic press. Give me that ASMR. Hydraulic press videos.
Now there's three. I said there's two ASMR, whatever AMSRs. What is it? AMS?
ASMR.
ASMR. That's bad. Anyway, I said two. I'm up to three. I like that ASMR of the guys like cooking out in the wilderness, and they just like it's
Cooking
just a
sounds.
stump, and they just slap a steak.
That's
on
not
it.
really ASMR to me, though.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
It's
like,
fine, but it's not to me.
Well, okay, so
Oh, it's not your truth, Dakota.
Yes, it's not mine.
on the
now,
fryer. Sorry.
now we'll probably get berated with comments on
Is
ASMR.
the sound is the sound of rain falling?
So
No.
ASMR is actually an
Yeah,
acronym.
I would consider it.
yeah, I guess
It's a response that your brain has to seeing or hearing
things.
things.
Stuff,
It
okay.
is
Autosensory meridian response.
Ooh,
autonomous sensory.
this man ain't never said meridian in his life.
response.
I used to live on
So
a-
it is about the response. So it doesn't really matter what the auditory thing that you're receiving is. It's your response to
yes.
it in your brain.
It's not it's not
So if it's therapeutic to you,
whispering
Yeah.
isn't
It describes
necessarily.
it describes a tingling, static-like, or goosebump sensation
so
in
rain,
response to
rain
specific
does that
triggering
for me.
audio.
Listening
Oh, yeah.
to rainfall
Or
does that for me.
visual.
Hey,
Or
rainfall
visual.
on a metal roof.
Yeah,
Ooh,
Not gonna lie, listen to that going to sleep.
I used to.
So
I
does
used
it-
to just listen to thunderstorms on my phone.
Yeah, it's not just
Slept
it's
like
not
a
just
baby.
audio. It's visual also.
So that's why I'm really into the cooking videos. That like they have a raw fish. It looks
That's like the sound
awful,
of
and I'm
nature
like,
to
oh,
me.
It looks so good because it just sounds like
Well,
when he's frying it in the wilderness next to a river. I'm like, oh man,
does it give you
That's where you
like
want to
a-
be.
it gives me like my primal instincts come out. What'd you say?
So that's where you want to be.
Yeah, Tim.
Does it give you like a tingling feeling in your head?
No.
Then it's not
Run down your
ASMR.
spine. So for me, that happens with a lot of music, like
No-
a specific
nothing does that for
song.
me.
Like if there's a crescendo or like a climax in the song or
Okay,
stuff, or like
I
a
can
lot
get
of
that,
like
yeah.
heartfelt passion in it, I'll get like the chills and stuff like that. So that's what that is.
A crescendo.
And so it's used as like in these days ASMR is used as like slang talking about the sound,
Slang.
but that's not what it is.
Right.
So who knew?
I be getting the chills on a good gospel song.
Yeah.
I get the
You
chill.
can
I get
feel
that.
it.
I get that. We listened to this
I reckon
bluegrass,
that's the
this
same.
acapella bluegrass gospel song yesterday that cannot be found anywhere but TikTok. I looked everywhere. We both looked. He Shazammed it or whatever. Can't find it.
Shazam.
Anyway, banger. That song gave me
Lying,
chills.
though.
What was it called?
Gives you chills.
Oh, something.
Oh Nelly.
Oh Lord.
I'll pull it up in a minute.
Yeah, so
I
I
don't
think
know why I stuttered there.
auditory
Like,
triggers it mostly, but apparently it can be anything. Like I'll sometimes get chills, like if it's the super hot day in the summer, ice cream truck comes down, and I get a SpongeBob popsicle
With the gum eyeballs.
with the gum eyeballs.
Gumdrop.
What if it's
Those
like
things are awful.
What if it's
Break
like
your
bad
teeth.
chills that you don't
Break
like?
it too.
You know, like a broken number 2 pencil and you're writing. and
Ooh,
then you
or-
get-
Oh, that's
or
got to
the
be something
scratch at a
different.
chalkboard?
Yeah, where it's like the
That's
bad.
a
like
cringe.
that.
That's a cringe.
It's got to be
see.
called something. It's got to be.
You,
I'll find
you
it.
get chills from that, or you cringe?
no,
That's a
like
cringe.
Yeah,
It's still a chill that
I
happens
guess I
to you.
cringe
Yeah, it
so
is.
hard that
It's
I
a
get
physical. You have a physical response to it.
But it's a bad one. It's not a good.
Yeah.
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 The
It's
opposite.
like banging your elbow on a table or something.
Some of us prefer to do that.
You guys make me want to do that sometimes.
You should.
How's that make you feel?
You should.
your elbow or your head.
Both.
Yeah.
But your elbow hurts way in your head.
Outside of rain falling, though,
It's even
I don't
it's
really
even
know
a
about-
gross sounding word. So the feeling or reaction when hearing the sound of like fingernails on a chalkboard is often referred to as grima. It's a
Don't
strong.
even say
That
it.
just-
Grima.
That just
Grima.
gave me grima.
Not cringe. Grima.
It's a strong emotional response to specific sounds, often described as unpleasant, shivers, or revulsion.
Learn something new every day.
That word's repulsion.
Revulsion.
Revulsion or repulsion?
Grima. This term
It's-
originating
it's
in
repulsion.
Spanish.
Propulsion?
It's repulsion.
So it's
Because that's repulsing.
no, it's revulsion.
Is there a V or a
repulsion.
P?
Yeah. It's a P.
Yeah, that's what I've been saying. Repulsion, not revulsion. Dakota, shut up.
You have it.
You said revulsion like 4 times.
We got the tape.
Listen, I can gaslight my way out of this.
Okay, the ASMR of the. Have you seen the lady on TikTok? She's like got 1 million followers, and she just like
There's a lot of those.
I don't see women on TikTok.
You're a smart man. She's like a dog. What do you call it? Where they don't rescue them, but they
Whisper.
Foster dog.
foster. She's like a foster dog lady, and she'll get these foster dogs, and she just gives them baths. But she she's got like the little hammocks on. She's like. Putting something on him, and the dog's just like chilling. It's like some big aggressive German Shepherd.
The
and he's
pitbull's
just-
like got his little fluffy ears
Yeah,
up. His
yeah.
fake fluffy ears up.
She
got a
takes
little
like
sleep-
she takes the ice roller and like rolls it on her. I'm like,
Put a little
why is
sleep
this so
mask on.
cool? Why do I want to watch
Have you seen
this?
the ones where they're
I'll
doing the
watch 'em.
dogs, where they're feeding the dogs like whole food,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
they're
yeah.
getting like baby chickens and blueberries and
And it's just
eggs and all that. Yeah, I
crunching
like
them.
those too.
I don't like those. The dogs eating those.
I do.
It's like sloppy.
It is cool, I think.
Dude, I watch like 3 of those videos in a row right before bed.
I want to say probably cooking.
great.
Cooking's
Gets
probably
him
the
keyed
most.
up. Huh?
Gets him ready.
Cooking's the most content.
I like a lot of cooking content.
especially at night, laying in bed.
And I always tell myself, I'm going to try that. And then I just save the video and never look at it again.
Yeah, pretty much.
I got like 10,000 recipes saved on my TikTok.
All right. I got something for everybody. What's one conspiracy you actually believe?
That we didn't go to the moon.
Okay. Right.
I don't know.
He believes them all.
I know I'm really cynical, so it's tough for me to.
I don't think we've been to the moon. I think we've been to the moon, but not when they say we went.
Possibly, yeah. I don't think we went in 1968.
Somebody made a good point
the
the
moon.
other day. We would have like monetized it, made money off
Also,
of it, done something.
Listen, too expensive.
Here's the theory, dude. We were trying to beat the Russians in the Cold War.
Yeah, trying to beat the Soviet Union.
There was a space race or whatever.
That's everybody's theory, though.
And they needed a win. And so, I don't think I watched the Osama doc. All right. By the way, if you want to watch a cool documentary on Netflix,
started it.
go watch that. That's super good. I was in the military during that time. The doc convinced me a little bit more that we might have killed him, but I'm still not totally convinced. I think we needed the war to end.
Yeah.
Obama needed the war to end to get reelected. He needed we're progressing toward the end of the war. He was the president that was going to come in and end all the wars. And then in 2009, when I was in, he said, I want 40,000 troops in Afghanistan. And so I was like, I got to combat training and they were like, oh yeah, you're all going to Afghanistan, like immediately. So, that's what happened. So he was like the war president and he needed to like remove that. So my theory is it's just weird to me. They never had pictures. The guy that shot Osama he's like a combat veteran. When you hear talk,
pretty insufferable.
And it's like, I don't know, dude. Like Navy SEALs, like Sean Ryan, and like most Navy SEAls you hear talk, don't really talk the way this guy talks.
There, I think he did, didn't he?
Yeah, what?
Maybe
It's Robert O'Neill.
Robert O'Neill. I just can't. Something about him just
seems fake.
Yeah,
Watch him kick in the door right now.
Well,
and
we've seen the
rush
theories
Ronnie.
too. Where like wasn't
I
he,
don't want to say he's fake.
He was on dialysis too, right? And he probably just
They don't know. That's so in the doc they talk about that. That was just somebody made that up.
Oh, all right.
They don't really know if he was on dialysis. But I think maybe he was sick somehow because they had a doctor. That's how they originally, which is a whole nother thing.
documentary.
Now I got to tell a story real quick. He was sick. They weren't sure if he was on dialysis. They had the Jordanians captured this like Syrian doctor, I think, and the Jordanians flipped him, and they essentially convinced him that to help him out, and so then they gave him over to the CIA. The CIA convinced this dude to go and infiltrate the Taliban and kind of work his way up to become Osama's doctor. Yeah, so that's what happened. They didn't hear from him for like 8 months, and they thought he had just like ghosted them. And then all of a sudden he reemerges, and then he's like, "Hey, I'm with Osama all the time. I'm his doctor. We want to meet at this facility in Afghanistan, this remote facility, and I'm going to give you all the details. And then from that point forward, we can go and take him down." And so this guy, him and a partner, they go to this CIA black site in Afghanistan. And because they didn't want to offend them, they let them through security without doing a vehicle check. He rolls up, like 8 CIA agents walk out to meet him, blows a car up, kills them all. And then he releases all these videos like, I told the CIA I was Osama's doctor, to get them to let their guard down. He's like, we're going to kill them all. And he just...
He flipped and then then flipped again.
And he didn't really
never
flip.
flipped.
It was
Yeah.
like his plan the whole time to like get him in a position where they could attack him.
So the CIA tried to make him a CI, but he was really a CI.
But he was a CI for the. He went to the Taliban and told the Taliban what the CIA was trying to do, and then they were like, "Oh, well, cool.
Play along.
We're gonna make you a suicide bomber and kill them all."
Oh,
and so he did.
man.
And so anyway,
So obviously Osama wasn't in that car either.
no, they didn't catch him for another 2 years.
They got him at his compound, right?
They got him, and they found his. Yeah, they got him, dude. You got to watch.
I've seen
the
part
doc.
of it. I do want to watch
How
it.
they got him, if it's all legit, is actually really cool and lucky.
Yeah.
I just, when that happened for a long time, I'm like, man,
It's
I
like a
don't
lot
know.
of things have to go right.
It's just
for that
weird.
to-
Like, release a picture of this dude. We saw Saddam Hussein get hung on live TV. Like, I remember I was a kid and watched that happen. And we didn't see even a picture of this guy, and they dumped him in the ocean, and it was all obscure. And it's like, the whole reason we were at war was because of this guy, and you're not going to give us a picture of him?
Didn't they,
It
like,
just
Did we still
seems
see the
odd.
impact though of his removal?
No. the Taliban grew. So we pull out of Afghanistan. So I left Afghanistan in 2012. In 2014, my buddies start texting me, and they're like, dude, all those towns we were like, the Marines were pushing into, we were blowing up, the Taliban took them all back over in 2 years. And then we pull out of, I don't even know when Biden pulled them, 2016, I think, right?
That was Trump, and then Biden pulled him out.
Biden pulled them out in
it was 2021
or 2020. Yeah,
right after COVID.
So we pull out. Of course, that's a disaster because we were not prepared. We leave, $40 billion worth of equipment over there. The country's completely run by Taliban again. It's like almost it's like we were never there.
Yeah.
And so to me, it was like, what are we doing? Now, there hasn't been an attack on U.S. soil for a long period. No jinxes. But there hasn't been an attack on U.S. soil in a long time.
Osama was the spearhead.
Right, but he was alive. Even after he was alive, there were very few, very minimal. Anyway, long story short, I've always kind of been on the fence. Like, I think my theory was they got intel that he was dead, and they got confirmation that he was dead, and they were like, we need to get the credit for this, and so that we can push toward ending this war. Set up an op, went in. I just don't believe Rob O'Neill.
So how do you think he died?
And here's the other thing: all of the SEALs, I think all of the SEALs that were on that mission, like except for him and maybe one other guy, died.
What was his
in another
age,
op?
Technically, what was his age supposed to be at?
I'm not sure, but so the doc is interesting because they had drones, like 30,000 foot drones, and they were analyzing other videos of him walking. And there was a guy that would come out every day of the compound, like outside, and he would just pace back and forth. And then they were analyzing other videos and measuring his gait, like on his legs.
I think they showcased that in that movie, Zero Dark 30.
Yeah, and so they were like looking at his shadow and measuring his shadow versus where he was standing, and they could tell how tall he was.
That's crazy.
It was the same height as Osama. But the only thing that they couldn't tell by his gait, because that's hard. So it was inconclusive, but they were like, we're pretty sure.
Yeah.
And then they took that to Obama, and he was like...
So they think Osama was just out there pacing back and forth?
Because he couldn't leave the compound. His only time to get outside was to...
Inside the gate of his
inside
compound.
the compound.
I got you.
He didn't know there was something overhead watching him.
Yeah. Huh.
But they were like, careful, dude. They burned all their trash. They never left the compound. There were 3 families living there, and then through a carrier, they followed the mail carrier, or the guy that was delivering him messages, and that's how they ended up tracking him.
I say, how did they get the intel that he was there?
They didn't know for a long time, and then he started walking around outside, and then they assumed he was there based on some
based on how high security the compound was.
Yes,
acting.
yeah. They were like, this is the only compound in the city that was like this.
Yeah.
It was it was an open community. Like, kids were going to school. Kids never went to school from this compound. He had a sun deck on the top level, and this is what really drew their interest. But the sun deck had a huge high wall around it, and they were like, if you have a sun deck, why would you put a wall around it unless you didn't want to be seen?
Yeah.
And so then they were like, something's going on in this compound. Either it's a drug dealer, an arms dealer, or something. We need to watch it. And then they see him come out and start walking, and they were like, oh, this might be Osama bin Laden. And they start doing all the measurements and stuff, and they're like, yeah, we're pretty sure this is him. Took that to Obama, and they told Obama, like, this could be an international incident. Like, if this goes wrong, this could be a huge problem. Because Pakistan, he was in Pakistan. Pakistan was not friendly to the United States. And, if this was just a Pakistani civilian or something that we had killed accidentally.
It's war crime.
Yeah, you're talking about war with Pakistan. It could have been bad. But he was like, I have enough, intel where I think this is probably him. Let's move on it. And then they have these top secret helicopters they flew in on. They flew for 200 miles at night, avoided the Pakistani radar systems and stuff. One of the helicopters crashed into the compound. Everybody survived. It crashed at a low altitude. They all survived. And then, if you're listening to the story, Rob O'Neill said that the guy in front of him, they knew about all of Osama's kids and his family. They were just popping them.
Yeah.
They killing everybody.
You should watch Zero Dark 30.
I've seen it, but it's been forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, Zero Dark 30, it's a good depiction, very similar to the doc, but it was interesting.
Yeah, I don't know how accurate it is.
With Osama's son, he ran up the stairs in front of him, and the SEAL in front of Rob O'Neill was speaking in a different language to get the kid's curiosity, and then he was said a weird word, and the kid peeked around the corner, and he went, "Pop!" and shot him in the dome, and then they went up and busted in the room.
Sheesh.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah, it's wild. It's also interesting to me that Obama put all those troops there, and then
Well, he claimed to be the anti-war president.
and then well, no, it's just interesting to me. And then his vice president, who became president 8 years later, pulled them all out. So it's like, I wonder if they conflicted about that during Obama's administration. Like, I wonder if Biden was like, "No, we shouldn't do this. You
Well,
should."
it's always been a huge debate about whether we should have been over there in the first place.
Right.
People have always been fighting about that the whole time. So
I don't think we ever should have went into Iraq. I think we blamed 9/11 on Osama. By the way, I think 9/11 was real. I'm not one of these people
Yeah, I
that
do
thinks
too.
that was fake. I think that's
Tim told me Bush did it.
He looks like he.
Nice response.
Okay. Maybe cut that out. Anyway,
Nope.
I've never thought that that was the conspiracy of it.
That's just too big of a thing to cover up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To me, and it's just like that doesn't even make any sense. And if you watch, so the doc talks about that, and if you see Bush and his reaction, like
I don't think
he was
that there's-
genuine. He
Obviously,
was-
don't know the guy personally, but I just can't imagine that he would.
You got to be one
But
monster to do
so
that.
so
Wasn't he at, like,
the
a-
Iraqi thing. Okay, so Osama bin Laden claims credit for 9/11, and there's plenty of evidence suggesting that he actually was the mastermind behind it. We go to Afghanistan first, but then we invade Iraq because they're harboring terrorists and weapons of mass destruction. But that was completely unrelated to 9/11. But Bush's daddy, Bush Sr., had been in Iraq, remember, in the Gulf War,
That's right.
and that was kind of like unfinished business.
Huh.
And they were able to say it was related to the attacks on America, and then Lil Bush, went back.
Yeah.
And that to me was a complete mess. Like Saddam Hussein, say what you want, the region was stable when he was there. Maybe he was an oppressive dictator, yada yada. The region was stable. We made it unstable. A lot of Americans died. It was a brutal, nasty war. That was stupid. We should have went into Afghanistan and just murked them. And we could have, but we were
blasted.
so spread apart. Rules of engagement in Afghanistan were weird. No country has ever won a war against the people of Afghanistan. Alexander the Great tried. It's called the graveyard of empires. Any country that wages war in Afghanistan crumbles. Alexander the Great was the first to try to do it. Got smoked.
I just feel like they live and breathe war over there.
He got smoked. Then the Russians tried to do it for 20 years. Then the Soviet Union fell. America tried to do it for like 20 years. We didn't succeed, and now America's starting to crumble.
And that actually goes back to the Bible.
Super
You know,
interesting.
Abraham's two sons, Isaac and Ishmael, because that's, Ishmael was an illegitimate son.
He's the Muslim guy.
Yeah, and so when they split off, Isaac, the line of the Jews came from him, and Ishmael, everybody in the Muslim stuff came from him.
Yeah.
So, and basically destined to be warring against each other.
Yeah, they are. They do live
the
and
end.
breathe war.
Yeah.
I mean, they grow up in it. It's sad. Most Afghans and I didn't get to interact with a lot of them, but the ones that we did interact with were pretty friendly. Like the
Yeah.
people that you interact with there, they're just, they're normal people. They're just, man, their life is
So different.
Strapped.
it is so like you think like a third world country like Honduras or whatever or even Uganda, but then you go to like Afghanistan and it's not just that it's a third world country, it's like ancient too.
But had they
You know what
made
I mean?
some progress, though? Was it Iraq or Afghanistan that, like, in the 70s and stuff, the women there...
Iran,
yeah. But they weren't wearing the
No.
hijabs?
Hijab.
they were listening to
Hijabs.
rock and roll.
Yeah,
and
if
had,
you
like,
look at
strip
pictures
clubs
and
and
stuff, they
Drive.
looked like trendy Americans from the 70s and stuff.
Yeah.
And then they got oppressed again.
They had a dictator Muslim leader come back and was like, nope, Sharia law, you're done.
And it's not the cultures, but
Dang.
it's the religion of Islam that's...
Yeah, it's an interesting
Yeah.
religion. Like being close to it, and look, I know I want to be careful saying this because I know Muslim people
Yeah,
that
so do
are
I.
super nice people,
Yep.
Me too.
and they are just like they're just genuine normal people. We don't agree in
But
salvation.
they're not following it. It's because they're not following Islam 100%.
Yeah, I'll never forget one time I was at a Jeep event in Louisville, and
A Jeep event?
a Jeep event.
You should have just said event, big dog.
No, look, no. My buddy, a buddy of mine,
wrong with Jeep?
he invented a tool that would remove Jeep doors, and I kind of helped him start it. And we were at an event, like trying to sell it, essentially trying to like announce it to the world. And they had like a Jeep Jam Louisville or something. I don't know.
Y'all ever wish your Jeep doors could come off? Come on down to the Jeep Jam.
2022 Jeep Jam.
So I'm at this bar after, and there's a guy sitting there, and I could tell he was from the Middle East. and it was a good Goodwood Brewing. And so anyway, I'm sitting by him, and we're talking, and he's like, asked me if I was from Louisville. I asked him where he's from. He was from Pakistan, I think. I was like, oh, cool, man. And I said, I thought Muslims didn't drink. And he's like, I'm not that strict of a Muslim. And I'm like, I'm not that strict of a Christian. And then we clacked our glasses and drank and just started, kind of laughed about it. But they're just normal people. I think that, like everything else in America, now look, I think they got it wrong, but also they're still good people.
Yeah.
Like people are people.
It's a blending of culture and religion.
Well, it's like in Christianity, we have
every group
the
has
Christianity has the
extremists.
KKK.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they justify that by twisting the Bible.
Yep.
Every group has extremists.
Right,
and
exactly.
That's just how there is to
and
it.
so, it's one of those things where the majority of those people are good. And, I do fear for their salvation, but also we are so polarized in America about everything that we think that Muslims, just as a whole, they're all jihads. And that's not true.
It's
And
not.
so-
It's not. I mean, it's a very small percentage, I think. Isn't it?
Well, there's, like Afghanistan as a country is, even the whole country doesn't like the Taliban.
Right. I was just about to say
The
they don't like
Taliban
the
just has the
regime they're
weapons.
under.
Yeah. I mean, the Northern Alliance in Afghanistan is what helped us even get footing there. They were fighting against the Taliban. So, it's one of those things where, like, we think those countries are all aligned, but
Just
80%
apples.
aren't.
Yeah.
It's just the people that have the weapons are.
Yep.
In America, we don't even think about
that. Are
that.
in control, and that's
Right.
what sucks.
Right. So anyway, I just want to be careful and make sure that it's understood. Like, I'm not saying that what you're saying is wrong,
I'll consider cutting
but maybe the people that are
Might want to actually.
are the Taliban. Yeah, because that just doesn't seem right. That just doesn't seem like it's like saying all Christians from Kentucky are inbred. It's kind of the same vein. You know what I'm saying?
Remember, everyone, I'm from Nashville.
I've got another one. What do y'all think about the conspiracy theory that the world is flat?
That is the dumbest thing I've ever
I
heard
agree.
in my life.
So I
don't
agree
even
with
think
that
that
too,
should
but
be it.
I just watched a video of a guy talking about how he believes it to be a dome, essentially,
Yeah.
and you hear
Yeah,
about the
yeah.
firmament
The
and stuff
firmament.
like that. I meant to look into it more, but he was talking about Lake Tahoe specifically, and he was talking about the measurements, going into the scientific measurements of the curvature of the Earth, and, however many feet it goes, like it has to drop down a little bit to make a sphere, obviously. And the width or length, depending on how you're looking at it, of Lake Tahoe is long enough.
Tahoe.
Yeah.
You know what? Lake Tahoe says the Earth is flat.
But it's long enough to where you should be able to stand somewhere and see. Like it's long enough to where scientifically and measurement wise, it should be
see it.
dropping.
Yeah.
I could see the world being
Have you ever flown in a
a
plane?
dome more
Well,
than
yeah,
I could.
I'm not.
see
I don't
it
believe
being
that. But I was just
flat.
saying that was kind of the first. I've never seen a flat earther back anything up with like math.
Well, it's
essentially.
Also, just doesn't make sense.
The Earth is let's think of it as a ball of Play-Doh. Okay.
Yeah, that's the best way
there's-
to describe it.
There's craters.
It is for real.
We've also
It's not a perfectly round sphere.
We've also seen
Right.
With a
Earth
pizza
from
roll
space.
inside of it.
spots. There's spots
we-
where it's
we-
like having
People don't
craters
believe
on the
that though.
moon.
They think that's all fake.
We've seen Earth from space.
Yes.
Like,
Allegedly.
Well, we have things that orbit the Earth in space.
Yeah.
Going around it.
Oh, dude. Speaking of which, me and Corey, when we were in Texas, we were out hunting those pigs
Oh,
at
did you
night.
see Starlink?
We're out there, bro, and Starlink, because the skies in Texas and West Texas, there's no lights, so like you can see the galaxies. We're sitting out there, dude, and all of a sudden this huge string of lights comes right over top of us, and I was like,
Y'all thought it was an alien.
I was like, for real, dude. I'm like, oh, dude, what is that, bro? And Bradley's like, oh no, I'm getting out. Bradley was out. Starlink. It was like a new thing. I mean, and
how big was it?
Well, it's a series of lights in a
So
in
it
unison.
looks like 6 UFOs like flying together.
Yeah, they're together.
That would trip me out, too.
dude. It's
Yeah.
trippy, bro,
Yeah,
and
it
it
tripped me
looks low, like it looks like
Look
it's
up
in
some
our
videos. There's
atmosphere.
videos of them. And it
What?
looks
Yeah,
crazy.
dude, it looks like it's in our atmosphere, and they're like moving in
Hey.
unison. And I was like, that's not a plane. Like you can tell. It's almost like a drone over top of you in a way.
that would have been kind of cool.
It was trippy, dude, and
Yeah.
it was pitch black, so it was really bright.
What about
You know
aliens?
I'm saying?
This is always a basic one.
I'm not an. I think my theory is, look,
I feel like we would have seen one by now if they were.
We
this
have.
is a complex theory.
Not you personally, maybe, but
Y'all both looked at me.
I
Maybe
think
I signed an NDA.
with the aliens.
You could be an alien. Kind of built like one.
All right.
Dang.
Burn.
Shooting shots
It's
over
Now
rare
sit
that you
over
get a
and
height
shut up.
burn,
Yeah,
like for being tall.
Hey, that is. Hey, Woo, look at you with the
get him.
short man
Had to
coming
get
back.
him.
Yeah.
Oh,
You wouldn't qualify to be
Yeah.
4'5".
Yeah.
Looking like you on Space Jam.
The
wouldn't even
Galactic
like you.
Federation would reject Woosley.
Literally.
Now they have
They'd be
short.
like, "Where's Ryan Woosley? Oh, hey, buddy, how's it going?"
Have you seen the
And it
short
somehow
aliens in
gets
Space
turned
Jam?
back on me.
The
It's
little midget
crazy.
ones in Space
Yeah.
Jam.
You come up to their kneecaps.
They,
down here,
they're only
guys.
midgets until they become the Goon Squad.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
They get the they steal
the
all the
juice.
players' powers and
Yeah.
they
That's
become
right.
the Goon Squad, and then they're huge like Dakota.
Also, their intro song.
you.
Their intro song.
With no powers, though.
It's a bop. I'm
Which
about to
one?
play it right now.
That is a banger.
The
Anyways,
For the Goon
aliens.
Squad.
So here's my theory on aliens.
All right.
They're in the ocean.
The Bible doesn't say whether or not. So a lot of Christians are like, no, there can't be more life, and I'm like, okay, well,
Time out.
Tell me where.
We have discussed aliens at length on another podcast.
Oh,
episode,
we
so
did. We did.
Thanks.
All right, let's roll
Actually,
it
we've
back.
already answered these questions.
got
Okay,
any new-
Bigfoot.
I don't know.
Anything
Do you
new?
have anything, Tim?
Bigfoot.
Hey, what's the name of that artist we were looking at? Travis Chapman. If
Got
you
any
guys,
more
if you guys
hot
are looking
takes?
for some awesome Bigfoot art, go check out Travis Chapman.
Listen, I
Yeah.
think Bigfoot. You can't disprove it, and there's plenty of animals we still haven't discovered. You know the clouded leopard. You know that was discovered in like the 80s.
I have no idea
For-
what you're saying right
Yeah,
now.
what's
clouded-
a clouded leopard?
It's a leopard.
Like a snow leopard?
I mean,
It's a leopard that lives
naturally,
up
it's
in
a
the
leopard.
mountain. It lives up in the mountains near the clouds. But anyway, they thought that they thought the clouded leopard was a myth because they never found a dead body of one or anything like for 200 years, and then it was finally confirmed in like the 80s.
What? Okay.
And now we have one at the Louisville Zoo,
That's a snow leopard, brother.
clouded leopard.
What do y'all think about the dire
Bro,
wolf?
what you're not going to do is argue with me about
Hold
leopards.
on. Hold on. If you could bring one animal
I
back,
will win.
one
Saber-toothed tiger.
Woolly mammoth.
That's the best animal.
Aren't they trying to bring those back?
Woolly mammoth?
They just brought back the dire wolf.
Okay. They brought back the dire wolf, but it's still mixed with like 20%.
Well, yeah, you can't
OG
bring it back
wolf.
100%.
Then
Yeah.
they are bringing back they brought back the woolly mammoth.
And it's mixed with Asian.
Hey, I saw a
elephant, think.
guy that they had one that was preserved in the ice. They found a woolly mammoth preserved, and they ate part of it. They like fried it up and ate it.
Dude, you know that had some
And the guy
crazy
said
nutrients in
it tasted insanely terrible. And I'm like, yeah,
I was about to
it's
say.
been dead for like 10,000 years.
Yeah,
bro. What are you
man.
doing?
That is
Would
wild.
y'all try biting
Are
it?
they still alive?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are these guys still
Absolutely
alive after
not.
eating that? They
Yeah,
didn't-
no, yeah.
They didn't get
he was
anything
on
from
some. I think he might have been on the Sean Ryan
I'm not
show
gonna
or
lie.
something.
I would not try that.
Anyway, saber-tooth tiger.
Yep.
We the saber-tooth tigers. Who y'all bringing back? You can't say dire wolf because they back
The
already.
megalodon.
Those are still here.
Why would you?
What?
Why would you bring them back, bro?
Those are still here.
They're here. They're in the
I
ocean
think
still.
there's got to be
Panama
one,
City
so.
Beach.
There might be
Panama
one.
City Beach.
There's one that lives there.
I saw her walking down the beach the other day too
Oh, boy.
Who?
What? Wait, what?
because she's so big. Didn't get the joke.
I thought it was about how sharp her teeth were.
That's a
Okay.
call her
What's going
Cut that
on?
out.
Megalodon.
Anyways,
Megalodon.
no.
Megalodon.
Those are still around. Those could still be around.
Those could
They
still
could
be.
They could because
But-
the
but-
ocean's so
so
undiscovered.
pick one that's
but
for sure. Not.
that, I mean, that was my pick, dude.
Why would you bring that back? You couldn't even swim in the water if those
Yeah,
existed.
that was
dude.
dumb. That was really
would
dumb.
Well,
just-
they're not coming up in the shallows, but dodo birds. No threat to humanity.
Those are dead.
Yeah, they're extinct.
I'm good. I'm
They
good
look
on-
cool, though.
I'm good on a bird.
Hang on.
Kill all birds.
Let me just
What?
do a
Well,
little.
Even
Yeah.
a
You just
peregrine
gotta talk to
falcon.
you gotta
Yeah, man.
talk to the
Why
government
would you
for
kill
that,
a
buddy.
falcon, dude?
Dude, peregrine falcons are the coolest.
They're dope. They fly 220 miles an hour.
Yep,
They're also
fastest,
great.
Fastest
Government funded.
animal.
Who you bringing
Great,
back,
and
Tim?
they're
What
disgusting.
kind of mole are you bringing back?
Nothing, dog. Kill them. I don't care. I don't care about animals.
Wow, everybody.
What?
For the record,
If we have
write it down.
any environmentalists in the comments, make sure you get after
Peter,
Tim.
I got your boy
Yeah.
over here.
Yeah. Holla
So
at
y'all
me.
are
him up.
hating on
You
my
can sue me
megalodon,
for everything I got.
but y'all are bringing back saber-toothed tigers. Like those
Well,
are.
yeah, but they ain't up here hunting you down, brother.
Yeah, they're a megalodon.
they might have been.
We're not in the jungle all day every day.
Yeah, they're eating.
No,
they're
I think
eating.
saber-tooth tigers were like more tundra based.
Okay, we're not in the tundra.
Actually, I think saber-tooth tigers were in the United States. I think like Montana.
Do we live
Yeah, but we don't
by
have
the
jungle here.
oceans?
No, but we go to the ocean.
Yeah,
Yeah,
How
but in the
deep are you
shallows.
swimming in the ocean?
you know what? It doesn't
deeper than
matter.
you.
Any animal. Hey, what about the Tasmanian devils?
can't
Those are
swim
kind of
in?
cool. You ever seen one of them boys?
Never seen
They're
one.
around.
I just
They-
think of the
they still
cartoon.
exist.
Or not the Tasmanian devils. It was the
I think those were
some
actually
kind of tiger that's in Tasmania. Maybe it's a Tasmanian tiger or something. It looks like a dog mixed with a tiger. It looks like a dog face and it's got stripes on its back. They call it like a Tasmanian tiger. Or
I
something.
got to
don't
bust
know.
out my zoo books.
But the
It's like we're sleeping on
Tasmanian
one.
devil. So the Tasmanian devil, I think, was like rediscovered by a guy named Forrest Gallant.
Rediscovered. What do you mean?
Well, they
Did
thought
we-
they were extinct.
We thought Tasmanian devils were
I
extinct.
think so, man.
I don't know.
I'm just saying stuff.
I think so
though.
too. Yeah,
So-
Tasmanian tiger, bro. Check this thing out.
Is that the Tasmanian devil? Same thing?
Oh, that looks like a chupacabra.
That thing's yeah. That
Show
thing's
it to the
doesn't look
camera,
right. That
Ron.
thing's
Show it to the
terrifying.
cam.
They're not gonna be able to see it.
Yeah, they will.
Okay, so amazing extinct animals.
I can't wait for that. I can't see it at all.
Sorry, what were you saying?
You
There's
just
a
pulled
lot
it
on
into-
here.
Dude, they got pouches.
Zoom
They got
in and
they got
enhance.
kangaroo pouches in their
They're
butt.
marsupials.
In
Now
their
you can't
butt.
tell me that thing's not wicked. A saber-toothed cat.
In their butt?
Look at
Maybe
that.
how
I'd
they
go
carry their
with
babies around.
maybe I'd go with the black rhino then.
That thing's weird. Never mind. I'm not bringing that back. That's gross.
Oh,
Why the,
Titan boa.
The what? Let me see it.
we
No.
still got boas around nowadays
That's
anyway.
Look
terrifying.
at that.
What the hell? I don't like that.
No,
Did you show them the butt pouch?
makes me uncomfortable.
Dude, imagine
That
putting,
gave me
imagine
grandma.
putting a Zen in
Did
there.
you see it?
Which
that gave me grandma.
Nah. Okay,
Which
so hold
one
on.
had a butt
Hold on,
pouch?
hold on,
The
hold on.
tiger?
Hold on.
The
You're telling me
Tasmanian
these right
tiger.
here.
It's a
These-
kangaroo pouch in their butt for their babies.
You're telling me this is a ground sloth. That doesn't look like a dinosaur?
Oh, ground
No,
sloths.
dude,
Ground
that
sloths were
looks like
huge.
bones.
Have you seen the tunnels they found that
They're
were
like a
dug
dinosaur?
by giant sloths?
Yep.
Have you seen that? They're like 10
Have you
feet
got- yeah.
tall by 100 feet long, and their tunnels.
That's
they
a
can see the
dinosaur.
scratch marks where the sloths were digging the tunnels.
Yeah, they were around in one of the. I think the
Jurassic
what was
period.
what was the last one? Was the Cretaceous period the last one?
Is that what Sid was? An Ice Age?
Neanderthals would be cool too. Forgot about them bad boys.
I don't think that's a thing.
Neanderthals? Google says it is right here.
Google also says that the Earth was created 80 billion years ago.
Well, this says this is what a Neanderthal looks like.
It's me.
Oh no!
That's that. You know,
Thanks. Wow, how scientific.
Just a human skeleton.
Yeah,
Wow.
maybe you're right.
Science is amazing.
I think they just make that up because then it fits their theory. It's like they were just humans. Okay.
I'm sure we had like caveman people. Yeah, dodo birds.
Well,
were
I'm
cool.
sure. Yeah, we had some.
The
I mean,
Tasmanian
people live-
tiger. It's called a thylacine. Thylacine.
Thylacine.
Thylacine.
I
Thylacine.
think I've heard it on a show before.
Oh, pterodactyls. Let's bring back pterodactyls.
Nah,
Irish
absolutely
elk?
not.
That
A quagga.
Those are worse than birds.
that might be worse than the
Pterodactyls
Megalodon.
Is that
are
a
the smaller
horse?
ones. The
A horse
pteranodons
bra?
were the big ones.
Is that a horse and a zebra? A horse bra? It's called a quagga.
You know they have.
It's a horse, bro.
Quagga
Okay.
sounds like a word you shouldn't say.
Real quick here.
Quagga.
That's what I was thinking. First of all, I'm gonna end on this ARC experience in northern Kentucky, Williamstown, Kentucky. I think if you haven't gone to that or haven't taken your kids to that, you need to go check that out.
Did the Ark land in Williams?
Yeah, we're landed in Williamstown, Kentucky.
Sea
Have you not
cow.
been up there?
No.
So it is they took the measurements from the Bible. You know, there's not a lot of verbiage there, but it talks about, 40 cubits, blah, blah, blah. And they built the ark per the measurements of the Bible. And then they go, when you walk in, it's huge. I mean, it'll take you all day. They describe how, because one of the arguments is, how could he fit two of every animal on this ark? That would never happen. Well, they do a good job of explaining how that would have happened. It wouldn't have been two of every single species, or every single variation of a species, but it would be like they have a wolf kind, right? And, over time, because we talked about before, we believe in micro evolution and how animals will adapt to their environment based off of their ancestor.
Yep.
And so it'll have like the wolf kind. And then even talked about dinosaurs and how they don't really think that dinosaurs were killed off during the flood, that some of them may have survived and then eventually just died off over time for lack of food. But because there's a lot of questions that I always had about that story, because that story, everything kind of hinges on that story. There's a lot of things that happen that caused that story to happen, like, the Nephilim, and we can go down that rabbit hole. But since we're talking about animals, it just kind of brought it to my mind. They have a zebra mixed with a mule in their thing, and it's like it looked almost like that.
Yeah.
It's like a brown mule with brown stripes. That's mixed with a zebra.
I thought you couldn't mix a mule with anything.
You can mix a mule with a zebra, but you can't mix a zebra with a horse.
Well, I thought-
You can mix a mule with a horse too.
Well, I
They
thought a
call
mule
them,
is a hybrid. Once something's a hybrid, it can't procreate at all.
created with a zebra.
Really?
Or maybe I'm wrong, dude. It could have been a horse and a zebra, but it looked like a mule with
Yeah.
brown stripes.
horse bra.
Zebras kind of look like mules anyway. Think about it.
Yeah, kind of.
As a horse, a zorse.
No, it's a horse bra.
Anyway, so but go check out the creation. I haven't been to the Creation Museum, but go check out the Ark Encounter, dude. I swear it's one of the coolest things you'll experience, especially if you're a Bible believing Christian and you want to see. Just seeing it is kind of crazy.
So, or if you like big boats.
I'm a big boat guy.
Yeah.
Not really, but
Buy us one.
big wooden boat.
I like big boats, and I cannot lie.
Hey, anybody got anything else?
I mean, are we out of time?
Yeah,
Yep.
Dakota's got a call.
Some of us have to work around here.
Tim, what are you playing Pokemon
And
over
Dakota's
there?
got to
What
go
are
to the
you
DMV.
No, man.
Yeah.
I got
You got coupons?
I got a game. I got a question game.
Dude, I would smoke y'all in Yu-Gi-Oh.
Save it for the next one.
Yep. Guys, that is all we have. If you enjoyed the show, enjoyed our ridiculous conversation just now, please review the show. Leave us some feedback. If there's something you want us to talk about, send us an email at questions@bydesignshow.com. Please share the show. We are trying to grow this organically. We don't run ads to the show. We don't run ads on the show. So if you could share it, give us a rating, or send us in a topic you want us to talk about, and we can probably destroy it on the show. That'd be awesome. Appreciate you guys watching. Thanks so much. We will see you on the next episode.
Yeah. There's a war going on inside. Just to name a couple, I battle with porn and pride. In a persistent struggle, a reoccurring huddle. A prayer meeting with me and the Holy Spirit. Feeling free, but no, I'm nowhere near it. But thank God for his conviction. The awkward part of me that may leave others to suspicion and call me into question. I confess my addiction. Know it's a lethal weapon. May compromise the mission. Being proselytized from this humanistic system. You think about that until